So, we come into the world with these innate needs, but nature is very kind. And the whole thing is, well, I don't know about kind, that's probably the wrong word. But certainly the whole package is very well designed in a sense, because we also have innate resources. For example, we have memory, the ability to learn, and without long-term memory in the brains, we can't take knowledge on, we can't develop as a human being. So this is a wonderful thing. We just don't know how much we can learn. Everybody, whatever position in life they start from, can learn more, which is fantastic. People with learning difficulties can learn more. We also have curiosity and imagination. Now, animals have this as well, but the human imagination is astonishing. I'm going to be talking about that after how this evolved about 40-odd thousand years ago in the human race. And when human imagination evolved, mental illness came into the world. But at the same time, we took a huge step forward, because without imagination, you don't have a past and future tense. Without imagination, you can't imagine things that aren't there in front of you. What would happen if? You can't ask those kind of questions without an imagination. You have to have an internal theatre in your mind in order to ask those questions. And also, without imagination, you can't draw dynamically from past experiences and play them out and connect those past experiences with what you might be imagining about the future. So, imagination is hugely important to the human race. But animals don't seem to have imagination. They live in the present. You couldn't have our complex modern language without imagination, because of that whole thing about past and future tense. All animals and birds are in the present, and all their signalling and languages are all connected to the present. We have an ability to understand the world and other people through metaphor, through pattern matching. So because we have this imagination, and because we have this access now to the right hemisphere, which is the side of the brain that deals through associations. Before we were human, we would be doing that unconsciously, but now we're doing it consciously. We appreciate metaphor, and we learn through metaphor. Metaphor is basically, cut to the essence, is a metaphor is a pattern that's similar to another pattern. And you say something, oh, it's a bit like, and then you talk about something else. So anything that carries patterns is metaphorical. So stories, jokes, case histories, interesting bits of news and so on are a bit like something else. You're looking for patterns in things. So the brain is a metaphorical pattern matching organ. Some people actually manage to develop a degree of objectivity, become aware of their own awareness. That's known as the observing self. And I mean, when you really sort of reflect and think about this, it's astonishing that the human race have members of it who can actually come into the world and be objective about themselves. In other words, looking back at what the universe is producing, and do this from a position of not total objectivity, but pretty near. This is what the observing self is. But everybody has the potential to become more objective about their lives and see themselves more realistically, which is fantastic. We have, as well as a need to connect to others and the need for empathetic relationships, we have an ability to do it as well. So it's a given, it's a resource, because we are a social creature. That need to be a social creature is in our genes too. We also have a left hemisphere, and in many people it's strong enough to be able to look back at our emotional responses and think about them, and particularly when we're not too emotional. And each night we dream. So this is what we do in dreams. If we're worrying about something, for example, we get emotional, it fires off, in other words, the autonomic nervous system is stimulated, and then we do something, and that stimulation goes down. So we dream in metaphors, and all our dreams are metaphorical translations of these expectations that we have. The brain is always trying to make expectations. It's always trying to anticipate. That's why we evolved this higher cortex, constantly trying to work out what to do next and what might happen if such and such happens and so forth. So dreams are metaphorical translations of waking expectations. And it's only expectations that cause emotional arousal and that aren't acted upon that become dreams. So, for example, you can get emotional in the daytime and express that emotion or do something around it, but you won't have a dream about that. It's only the stuff that you sit upon, that you can't complete the pattern, that become dreams. And dreams are deactivating the emotional arousal, which frees the brain to respond afresh to each new day.